So it made me laugh because I went home to visit my family for Christmas, and my dad, bless his heart,
Oh boy. When it starts like that.
bless his heart. He is on the computer a lot and he lives on the internet a lot, but he's always like a month to 2 months behind the internet trends and stuff. And I spend more time on the internet than him, or probably just the same amount of time on the internet as him. And I had heard of Andrew Tate back in like September,
Mm-hmm.
and I was watching some of the stuff that was starting to come out, and some of the discussions and everything. And I'm like, yeah, he's got some good things to say here and there.
Okay.
But I was also like, something's off. There's like just a little bell in the back of my mind that I'm like, this is weird. Something's off. There's just something off. And I didn't really dive into him. I didn't really go in depth to try and figure out who he was. I was just like, it was one of those, I don't have the time. I don't really care that much. I'm okay with him like saying some of the things that he has said, and I'm okay with those. I think they're some of the stuff that came across my desk. Yeah, it's all right, fine, whatever. But whatever. Like, I set them aside. I much prefer other people. And so I go home for Christmas, and I'm hanging out with my dad, and my dad's like, "Hey, have you heard this guy, Andrew Tate?" I'm like, "Oh God,
Oh boy.
no." I'm like, "Yes, Dad, I have." He's like, he has some really good things to say. I'm like, Dad. There's
A
there's
man's
some
man.
there's some fishiness going on there. There's some things. He's like, so he still has some good things. I mean, Dad, no. I'm like, you don't
Careful, pops.
exactly. I'm like, careful there. There,
Mm-hmm.
internet
Or you're not
personality.
pouting.
Yep, 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 yep. Because what I was seeing with him is, or when I would watch these videos and things, what ended up happening, or what ended up feeling like he was saying things that felt very calculated, that felt very calibrated to a specific group of people, specifically young men. Excuse me. And because it felt like that, it didn't, like, some of the stuff, even though what he was saying felt right and felt good, it because it came across as, yeah, something's off, or sorry, or he's very calculated. I was like, I'm not gonna, I can't do that. You're gonna say something.
You know, when I was in the army, we had the joke of when you tell a story, you got to have at least 10% truth in there.
Yes.
And it's kind of along those lines, right?
Yep.
You can kind of get away with a lot when you just dance around the 10% kind of concept.
Yep.
The other 10% rule is you got to be 10% smarter than the tool you use. But that's another one. So, if you can't figure out the door, then the door is probably 10% smarter than you. But the that's where that one comes in. So I'll let you keep going. But yeah, that's my initial thought on it.
Well, and then so I'm like, okay, Dad, I know. Like, Andrew Tate had a really good interview with Piers Morgan. Like, it was a good interview, and the reason I say it was good is because Tate had um, dialed back some of his bombastness,
Boldness. You can say.
boldness, whatever you want to say. He had dialed some of
Oh.
that back, because, and it was one of those, like, again, one of those moments of, he knows who he's talking to. He, like,
Yeah.
and it's like everything is starting, like, he's a manipulator and everything.
Have you heard some of the stories about this gentleman?
I have heard a few stories here and there, but I like it's one of those situations where I'm like, again, not I don't have a how do I put this? It would be interesting to go in and dive into him and figure out and learn more about him, but I really don't care at all because he's such a non-entity in my view that I'm like whatever. Like it just does not matter to me. So that was but anyway, that was like the whole so my dad was saying all that. Well, I get back from um being with my family, and like a week or 2 weeks after, all of the stuff like comes out about him and
Uh-huh.
everything. And so you brought up the pizza, and because of where you are located, it reminded me that how he got caught, because he was in Romania and he had a pizza box in a video, and he went after Greta Thunberg, and the Romanian police saw this video of him, and they identified the pizza box, and
Oh
they
boy,
found him because of the pizza box.
that's amazing.
I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
holy cow. I'm just oh my goodness. It's just it is amazing. And I my dad hasn't mentioned Andrew Tate since.
Oh no, but have you?
I haven't mentioned anything to him about it. I'm like,
I definitely would.
uh, I want to.
Thanksgiving.
I want to, but I'm also like, I don't want to be,
You can
you
start with
know,
making fun of Greta, um, and then move on to making fun of Tate.
you know. Here's the thing,
That's
Greta's
child
too.
abuse to me.
I I was gonna say Greta's too easy of a target.
Yeah, yeah, that's just child abuse, actually, in my opinion.
Well, she's what, 20 right now?
Is she that old now? Are we that
Yeah,
old? Has it been
yeah.
going on for so long?
It has. She just released a new book too, called The Climate Book. Uh Yeah, she's 19. No, no, no,
She
no, no,
looks
no. She's
old.
20. She's 20. Um,
Then she's fair game now.
oh yeah, she is fair game.
Is she mentally disabled?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
better not to tease her, even if she's fair game.
Well, so
But
she
she's protecting you
has
now.
she does have a disability, and the thing I don't like, it's a form of autism.
Hmm.
And one of the things that somebody I know who worked with people who were autistic, one of the things that she said is you have to be very careful about the things that you tell these kids who are autistic, because they think in and I'm talking, I'm probably talking preaching to the choir with you. Um, they think
No,
in
I also think in black and white, in ultra realistic terms.
Yeah. Like that's how they think. Like so the example that she gave is when a child has a when an autistic child has a balloon and they're playing near a tree or playing near something um I don't know, sharp, where the balloon could pop. You cannot, or you have to be careful about how you explain to them the idea of, if you take that balloon too close to that sharp object, that balloon could pop. Because for those kids in their mind, that could is not a could. Like it's not a
Hmm.
possibility. In their head, it has popped already. Like as soon as they conceptualize the balloon popping, it has happened in their head. It's not like it's a divergent path of, if I make this choice, it's not going to pop. If I make this choice, it is going to pop. In their head, it's popped. And so they freak out and they get upset, and they like get seriously like they're ball they ball they start crying and crying and crying, even though the balloon is like right in front of their face.
Hmm.
um and it's just because of that. And so what she's saying is that someone like Greta Thunberg, who has that type of a who potentially has, I don't think she's I don't, I have her Wikipedia up, and I probably have to comb through it to figure out specifically what she was born with. um
Hmm.
anyway, she would have to like in her, because of that, for her, all of the climate change doomsaying has already happened. That's why she was so upset in front of the UN, and she had that whole "how dare you" speech. Like in her head, the Earth was already on fire from climate change and global warming and things like that,
Hmm.
even though it really isn't, because she just can't conceive or can't separate possibility of things happening. So, in a way, her family and her friends, or her family and country, telling her all of this stuff about climate change is child abuse, because they did rob her of her childhood
Hmm.
by telling her these things and stuff, because she can't conceive of this has not happened yet. It
Hmm.
could happen. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's, at
It's a
least
nice way to
that's.
say it. My opinion is you take an
Oh
idiot,
no.
you wind it up, and then you profit off of its suffering is very awkward.